Talking Canucks and BC Lions, U Sports podcast. We're taking the lead, analyzing the game from the rink to the field. From the ice to the turf, we'll break it down. Discussing every win and every loss in town. We'll talk about the Canucks and the Lions. We are your irrational fans. We are your irrational fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, episode 81. My name is Jake Hughes, alongside the old man. Old man, how the heck are you doing today?
You know what? If I was any better, it should be illegal to be this good. How can you not be good after this week?
As a Lions fan, I don't think, well, I mean, up until today, there was a lot of questions in BC Lions land. I guess yesterday, when was the announcement? Yesterday?
Monday?
It's been a whirlwind of a week for BC Lions
I think
fans.
it was Monday they announced it, or it broke.
It broke. It was announced at basically the same time it broke.
Exactly.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Nathan Rourke is back with the BC Lions after a tumultuous journey in the NFL.
There's a big word.
Tumultuous, thank you. I like to bring out the big words for big guests, and we have a very big guest joining us today. Is the BC Lions analyst Giulio Caravatta. Giulio, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Fantastic.
Right.
How can you be bad when you're having someone like you on the podcast?
Well, when you said big, I was going to say, yeah, literally too. That's I'm big around the waist too, so that's another podcast.
It's funny because I decided to go old school today and grab my number 4 jersey out.
Paul McCallum.
Yeah, who I know is a good friend of yours.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh crap, is it going to fit? And it's a little tight. My jersey.
Well, you're way ahead of me because I wouldn't even want to attempt to squeeze into one of my old jerseys. I don't know if I get it over my head.
I have convinced myself at 59 now, when you put a jersey in the closet for too long, they shrink.
Yeah. I'll go with. I'm good with that. I'll go with that.
Now, I was looking up his stats before we get into all the fun stuff. I was looking up a stat, and I didn't even bring it up with Jake yet. But I'm going to ask Jake a question: who is the only kicker in the CFL to have 100% completion?
I'm going to go with our guest today, Giulio Caravatta.
He is
100% completion. What's that? Give it to me.
Your field goal percentage.
Oh, that's right. I'm 3 for 3.
3 for 3. Never missed one.
Right. But I did miss my first convert.
Oh.
Did you really?
Yeah. It was a bit of a bad snap, and the ball was never on the tee. And I hit the left upright.
Always blame the holder.
Hey, when it happened like 40 years ago or 30 years ago, you can blame whoever you want.
Well, you couldn't blame the chip back then.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't blame the chip. Yeah. That's right. That was in Las Vegas.
Wow, that goes back, eh?
Louis got hurt, and I remember it was the first field goal, I think, was 23 or 24 yards. And I remember I was so nervous because I never kicked field goals in college. It was just something I picked up during, more as an emergency guy. So I was never a kicker.
Right.
I punted in college. I never kicked. But I remember thinking to myself, I was so scared and so nervous. I remember I didn't even look up. I just figured I was going to look at Darren Flutie because he was the holder, and he was going to let me know whether it was good or not. So I was lucky to, So anyways, I can still remember.
Those were exciting years back then. You mentioned Flutie, the Flutie brothers, and back with my all-time favorite player, Lou.
I
was a receiver when I played football as a kid, but my heroes have always been kickers. It's weird.
Really? Well, Louis, as great a kicker as he was, and that, he was a fantastic athlete. Like
Yes.
fantastic athlete. Like there's only one thing that I don't think he could do. He couldn't skate.
Oh, really?
No, he couldn't. He wasn't good on the ice. He could play. He could play. Road hockey, but he wasn't a good. He wasn't good on the ice. That was the only thing he probably couldn't do was skate.
Well, see, that's because he was born and raised in Vancouver, and in Vancouver, they don't have ice.
Well, no, but in East Vancouver, your parents were Italian. They wouldn't pay for skates.
That's right. They pay for a football.
That's right. They would pay for a football, but wouldn't pay for skates.
That's awesome.
Oh gosh.
So let's jump into the big news of the week here.
Yeah.
Was it a surprise to you? Did you hear it coming?
No, I think probably, I think for all of us that are around the team and covering the team, it was something that was, everyone was kind of always saying, hey, well, how's Nathan doing? And have you heard anything about Nathan? And, obviously when he signed with New York, that was, we were asking as training camp progressed, and he actually was at the stadium just prior to him leaving for training camp.
Yeah.
So I got to talk to him there just briefly, wished him luck. But we've been keeping, tabs on him, and, was surprised about him getting released in New York. And then when he got picked up in Atlanta, we were again, talking about, it being Atlanta, and obviously with Cousins and Penix there, that what his chances were, and then getting released as quickly as he's did. So I think anybody that follows this would be lying to you if they told you that they saw this coming. This was a surprise. This was, I don't say shock, but it was a big surprise. I think all of us, me included, I thought if anything, he was maybe going to wait for the beginning of the season and see if anybody got hurt and then try to get in that way. Yes. But clearly, and just listening to him today in his press conference, you got the sense that he was frustrated with the process. And, he was with New York the whole offseason. He gets to training camp. He doesn't get a rep. He gets thrown into a game in Atlanta, probably with very little reps. And, I watched it, and I thought he threw the ball well, and there was a couple of drops, and, every ball, there was good intention. Like, he knew where he was going with everything.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think the other part is that he realizes that, down there, there's a lot of other things at play, right? The politics of football, and where you played, and where you were drafted, and who likes you, and who brought you in, and all those things. So and Nathan, I think, he spoke about it today. He was frustrated, and he wanted to play, and he wants to get on the field. So he went from getting 0 reps to getting all the reps. He looked fantastic today. I won't lie. I watched every throw. I think I saw 2 incompletions.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I shake my head because it really is remarkable.
Is he going to start? Is that the plan?
Yes.
Wow.
That's the plan. Hey, Rick Campbell told us yesterday when we went down. I went down to the press conference yesterday, and he made it very clear. Moj asked him, said, what are the quarterback reps going to look like? And he said, Nathan will take every first team rep, and he will start.
Wow.
End of story. So, and it's just such again, I think even for the team, the suddenness of this, right?
Oh,
like this happened very, very quickly. It's not like, a lot of things they brew, and you can hear people talking, and, oh yeah, I'm hearing, Nathan might be coming back, or, blah, 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 blah. It was a day. I think it was really literally a day.
And it was Monday.
Released.
It was Monday they announced it, or the story broke on Monday.
It was Tuesday.
Was it Tuesday? Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday. They found out Monday night. So Sunday he was released. The 24 hours he cleared waivers, and then they were talking, and then it happened. And I think it was Monday night that it happened. And then they waited, obviously, because they wanted to tell a lot of the, first and foremost, they wanted to let Vernon know. And then then obviously it happened early Tuesday morning. I remember I was doing a radio hit for a radio station in Kamloops, Radio NL, and we had just finished talking, and then he had just finished asking me about Nathan and what was going to happen, and I was like, well, yeah, it's probably going to be maybe mid-September if he decides to come back, but it's all up to him. 5 minutes later, the news broke that he was coming back. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, it was very, very quick.
Jake?
What does that look like
moving
from
forward?
your opinion, moving forward with having Vernon Adams? Because it was
Yeah.
very clear from Rick Campbell's press conference and his statement that the team put out that Vernon Adams isn't being traded. He's earned a spot on this team.
Yeah.
It gives Vernon Adams time to heal up, which is always nice. The team really needs that. But what does that look like moving forward from there?
Well, I think, first of all, I feel, it's how can you not feel bad for Vernon, right? Like he's having an MOP type season, and then this happens, right? So, but Vernon's a real pro. He's not only a great football player, but he's a great person. And, this is the business side of football, and sometimes it's not fair. But I think this just goes to show you, Vernon's whole thing is about team. He wants to win. And however Nathan can help the team win, he's all for it. And so you made a very good point. This enables Vernon to be 100% healthy when he comes back.
Yeah.
And I think they probably would have been more apt, or he probably would have been more apt. And again, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but knowing the kind of competitive guy he is and how much he wants to help the team, that he probably would have been not 100% and wanted to play to try to help the team, especially if they, were losing. So
has he made a statement?
Huh?
Has Vernon Adams actually made a statement yet? No, nothing.
He was out of practice, and then he wasn't at practice. And I'm not speculating on anything. I would imagine that medically, whether it was rehab or whether it was an appointment of some sort, that's why he wasn't there for a little bit of the practice.
Oh, okay.
So, but no, there was no statement from Vernon. But again, it's a shock to the players. It's a shock to the locker room. Again, because this is big, right? This is big. That contract's big.
Huge.
What
are the numbers? The numbers are $250 this year.
Yeah. I honestly, I know that, and then it escalates, like I want to say $750 or something like, but I think they're still trying to manage that. Like the hard numbers are there, but I think the way that they massage those numbers and, move them around, I'm not 100% sure how it works.
I heard something new yesterday, or maybe it was today. They have marketing dollars.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck is that? So I had to do a whole bunch of research.
Yeah. I'll just say, like, the thing about it is that if you got a player like Nathan, and I think like a bunch of the players, Brady Oliveira, Zach Caleros, Trey Ford, the league's got to come up with a way that, you can pay what they deserve. But also at the same time with the salary cap, it's going to be difficult if you pay a quarterback that kind of money, then, you're really going to suffer with the rest of the team. Right.
Yeah.
So I like this idea that if you can, have marketing money where he can make money away from the field, and it helps boost their salary, then I'm all for it.
Didn't they at one time have a stipulation where you could have one marquee player?
Yes.
And they took that away now, haven't they?
Yeah, they did. They've had a bunch of rules like that. Like if I'm not mistaken, they had at one point, they had, a quarterback couldn't make more than $450,000 or $400,000, and but then they got around that as well. Like they would give the quarterbacks an expense account, $100,000 expense account or whatever it was. Like, there's a way when it comes to that kind of stuff, there's always there's always ways to find loopholes and cracks and stuff. So I don't know how it all works, but I tell you, it was pretty exciting to be there. The buzz that Nathan created at the practice today, and to see that many people out there was nice. He moves the needle, plain and simple. He moves the needle.
Yeah. Now, ticket sales for this Wednesday or this Sunday's game against the Bombers, they've opened the upper bowl. Is that correct?
Yeah, they did that prior to
Right.
Nathan being signed. So, but hey, I'll give you and I don't think I'm giving you anything that's probably that people don't know about, but I saw Farhan was at practice today, and Farhan and I obviously are friends, and we were sitting there talking, and he says, "Do you want to know about the impact that Nathan Rourke is having?" I said, "Why?" He goes, "TSN was going to have like a 2-minute panel prior to the game on Sunday. They now are going to have a half-hour pregame."
Wow.
And bringing in the panel.
They're actually bringing the panel to BC.
No.
Oh.
Like they're going to have a half-hour pregame show
prior. A proper pregame.
That wasn't in the cards prior. So unless that changes between when Farhan told me and now, so it just goes to show you the kind of impact that he's having, right? It's
huge.
Yeah. And I was saying to someone today, like Trey Ford in Edmonton is a guy who in that market is, when he walks out on the field, you can feel the buzz.
Yeah.
So for the CFL to have 2 Canadian quarterbacks that are really, doing a good job of them, in the market and getting them out in the communities, and people are excited about them, right? They move the needle, right? People want to come and watch them play. So it'll be interesting. They don't tell us numbers. Honestly, they don't tell us about ticket sales. But after this game, I'm going to be interested to know how many people came to see Nathan Rourke once they found out that he was playing.
I can bet. I mean, I grew up in BC. I don't know if you're aware, but both Jake and I live out in Calgary area.
Yeah.
But huge Canuck fans, huge Lions fans. And that city, I mean, it will support a football team when they're a winning football team and when you have that buzz.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, they and given the fact too that the Grey Cup's here, right? That's obviously created more buzz as well. So, I will say this too. The Lions are lucky in a lot of different regards, but they are very fortunate to have the owner that they have now. Amar Doman is just continues to hit home run after home run, and at the highest level that when this conversation was going on, that given what Amar's done already, that he said, "You just tell me where I have to sign, and I'll do it."
Get it done. When a player like this comes along, you do whatever it takes.
Just get it done, and
right?
I'm going to sign it. And that really just speaks to his commitment to this team, and one, I think too, he understands the value that Nathan brings to the franchise, right? So, it's going to create a very interesting dynamic moving forward. So, I'm sure there are players that are upset about what's happened, and because there are players here who don't know who Nathan is, they never played with him.
Guess so, eh?
Yeah. So, but I said this today: winning solves a lot of problems.
It solves 90% of the problems. And with the extra time, you can solve the other 10%
of them. So if they go out and win, and they're gonna, and away they go. So, but that's not going to be an easy task, right? The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are a good football team, and they handed it to them a couple of weeks ago. And the Lions right now are reeling a little bit confidence wise, and they need a real boost, and hopefully for Lions fans and for everybody that loves the Lions, that Nathan's going to give them that boost.
Speaking of fans, we have a fan that wrote in who you are very familiar with, a good friend of mine and a friend of the show's, Rod Peterson. and all he said was "chooch."
Chooch.
Is this a nickname we don't know about?
You know what chooch means in Italian?
What's that?
Means donkey.
Oh,
And most Italian fathers call their kids chooch. So,
Jake, you have a new nickname.
so Rod, who worked with Carm Carteri for all those years,
Yes.
I'm sure Carm probably called Rod a chooch a couple of times.
Oh,
So,
I'm sure.
We always tease each other whenever we see or talk to one another about being a chooch. So there you go. Now you know.
Cool.
So does that mean that Roddy's listening right now? Is that what it is?
Roddy is listening live right now.
Wow. Hi, Roddy. Love you, buddy. Is he in Florida?
No, he's actually in Calgary right now. He's taking a bit of a holiday. And
a holiday from Florida in Calgary.
He's been in
Makes sense to me.
He's been in Moose Jaw all summer.
Tell me he's at Spolumbos.
The macaroni pony.
Macaroni pony.
Oh, Roddy, we should have just brought Rod on and with you and let the guys go.
Yes.
Too funny. Second half of the CFL season, we're basically in it now. And when I look at it, you're getting it looks like everybody's becoming healthy again. It looks like Harris is going to be back for Saskatchewan either this week or probably next week.
Yes.
You got Trey Ford in Edmonton. Hopefully he's not.
Yeah, what happened? What's the word on him today? I didn't hear anything.
I have not heard a word.
Okay.
I'll do some research while we're talking.
There you go.
I know it's his ribs.
Oh, yeah, when he went down on that ball.
Did something, but it was a rib for sure.
Yeah, you could see him grab it when he went down. It was football. It's one of those things. Mm-hmm. What's your expectation for the second half?
Well, I said from the very beginning that I thought the Western Conference, the Western Division was gonna go down to the wire. Now, I know a lot of people, given Edmonton start, given Winnipeg start, and then the Lions and Saskatchewan kind of getting out in front early on.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that no one was going to run away with this division. Yeah. Like Edmonton lost 3 straight games with walk-off field goals.
Insane.
That's insane. And then you look at what Saskatchewan's been able to do without their starting quarterback, and now they're what are they 1-3-1 in their last 5?
Yeah.
And then the Lions have lost 3. The Winnipeg is now sitting there. If they win this game, they're going to be a game behind the Lions. So they're still. I mean, like I said, I'm not counting anybody out of this division.
No.
It's just going to be. I truly believe the team that can survive injury. That especially at the quarterback position, which is so valuable, but like I said, I'm not even going to begin to try to predict because I really can't. There's too much parity. They're too good. I think anybody can beat anyone on any given day. And I know that's very cliche to say,
but it's true.
I really believe it. I really do. You see the games. Like, what's the difference? There's no weak sister in this league right now. Well, Hamilton is struggling a little bit.
Yes,
I will say that they have, they're really getting themselves behind the 8 ball. But other than that, I just don't see somebody, running away with this thing. I just don't. It's just going to be too close.
Which for fans like us, Rod actually gave us the moniker, the irrational fan. He was watching a game with me and he was trying to talk and it was like, why are you talking? There's a game on. Stop. So I became the irrational fan. And as just a pure fan of the CFL for 50 plus years now, I just love it. We watch every game and you never know who's going to win. Has there been some really snoring games? Of course there has.
Yeah.
You're going to get that in any league. But I agree with you. This is going to be an exciting second half. And you're right. If I could figure out who was going to finish first, I'd be a rich man.
Yeah, and the thing is too is like for the Lions, like it's not gonna it doesn't get any easier. Like it's not that it's easy for anybody, but one of the things that's been a bit unusual this year for the Lions is they played a game away in Calgary, then they got a bye, and then they had another 2 away games, one in Winnipeg and this past weekend. So now they're going to come home and play Winnipeg, and then they're going to go on the road, and they have to fly all the way to Ottawa, play Ottawa, come back, and then they're going to play Touchdown Pacific in Victoria.
Wow.
So that's another road trip. The team leaves on Wednesday to play on Saturday. And then they come out of that. They have to fly to Montreal to play Montreal.
Whoa.
So then they come back home and play Toronto. So this next stretch for them
is going to be a real test.
Well, it's really one home game in 2 months.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Like pretty close.
Yeah, pretty darn close.
Yeah. So that's not easy. It's not easy.
No doubt.
And we are talking about the Lions and Nathan Rourke and everything. And really, if you're being honest, like, was the quarterbacking against Edmonton the reason why they lost that game?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So there are some other issues that need to be rectified with this team that
like some offensive line, a defense that can stop the run.
How about some tackling?
Hello.
Right? Like they struggle. And I'm not like, I'm not telling anybody anything that they don't. If you watch the game, it was very, very uncharacteristic of that defense that I really thought against Winnipeg the week prior played really, really well, considering they held them to 6 field goals and only 1 touchdown. Like the Lions were so bad offensively against Winnipeg that game should have been 50-0.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and so, And so for them to have only lost the way that they did, I think defensively, they really stepped up, and being on the field for 42 minutes, add that part of it in. That's why last week for me against Edmonton was such a shocker. Like, I don't know whether or not it was a case of them trying to do too much, like trying to, cause a turnover or do something because maybe the offense wasn't doing what they needed to do. But I was just astounded by some of the, and mind you, they had some injuries.
Yes.
They had some pretty critical injuries on defense with the linebackers, but
you got to play through those injuries.
Yeah. And some of the fundamental, mistakes, I went and rewatched it. I was just like, wow. Like, so anyways, here's the thing. One of the things I've learned over the years, and I know I recognized it as a player a long time ago, is that one of the things that is a very good motivator, a driving force for a player, is embarrassment. If you have been embarrassed, or people obviously now are talking about how bad they are and that they, blah, 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 that it's getting out of control and blah, 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 blah. I still believe in this team. I still think they're a good team. Yeah. But you're going to see an answer. Your back's up against the wall. You're at home. You got all this other stuff happening. I'm really anxious to see how they respond, because from a defensive standpoint and being at practice today, there was a little bit more, stern advice and coaching happening.
Stern advice.
Spirited advice. Exactly. That's a good way to put it. So you could feel the intensity, which is good. Yeah. Which is a good thing. Right.
Well, you got to take that embarrassment and turn it into motivation.
You do, right? Like in every sport, it doesn't matter what sport it is. Like, and the thing is too, is like, and again, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. The players know. You don't have to go to a player and say, hey, what happened, or blah, blah, blah. They know. Yeah. Because I found out a long time ago, and it rings true no matter what. In football and in sports, the magic eye in the sky never lies. Yeah. That means that the film never lies. So when you sit there and you watch yourself and you're being honest with yourself, you know if you played well or you didn't. And if you didn't, then you've now, as an athlete and a competitive person, because when you get to this level, you're an athlete, you're a professional athlete, you know how to respond. That's where I really enjoy that part of it nowadays, because it's such an interesting component to seeing the character of a team and how they respond.
My friend, we have kept you way longer than I had said we would keep you.
Oh, that's okay.
I appreciate you taking the time to come out. It was just last minute. I messaged you at this afternoon.
Well, I was at the practice.
Were you at the practice when I messaged you? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Maybe as we get closer to Grey Cup, we might have you back on just to kind of wrap up the season.
No problem. My pleasure.
Awesome. Jake,
thank you so much, Giulio. No, just thank you so much
for the
time. Look forward to chatting more BC Lions with you later in the season.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Take care, guys.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Giulio Caravatta.
What just a wealth of information when it comes to things, and so well spoken.
Oh, I could have sit and just been like, keep going.
Yeah.
And I realized it was bad because I told him 15 minutes, maybe 20 if you've got it. And he was gracious enough to say right away, yeah, no problem. And it's 31 minutes in, and I was like, oh, crap.
Whoops. We weren't watching the clock.
Usually, and if people who don't do a podcast, we have a little clock up in the corner that tells you how long you've been broadcasting for. So I looked up at the clock at one point and went, oh, okay, it's only like 20 minutes. We're good. We'll wrap it up. And all of a sudden I look up and it's 10 minutes have gone.
It's crazy, but appreciate the time so much, Giulio. Appreciate everyone commenting in. I'm sorry I tried to get to some questions, but it just never really happened. Next time, my plan is to announce it earlier and let you guys get in some questions beforehand, so that way we can talk with Giulio about those.
Wow.
Lots to break down from that.
And he's not wrong about this game coming up this on Sunday. You can't underemphasize how important this game is to our season. Every eye in football is going to be on that game.
Yep.
Like whether you're a CFL fan, like an NFL scout, I could go on and on. Everybody's watching that game. Here's a guy. That literally got cut from an NFL team on Monday and is starting in the CFL as a quarterback on Sunday.
And that quick, like it's crazy. I mean, even we talked about it 2 weeks ago with Farhan. It was like at least the middle of September, the earliest,
or into October, even we thought.
Right. So, yeah, just a great guy to like, just a great story.
Oh,
but as a defense, does that alleviate some pressure on you? And I didn't want to keep Giulio any longer, but
we could have asked him a million questions, right?
But does that, like, you have all that pressure on you, have all that thought process on you from everything, the scrutiny and knowing you screwed up, and now is it, oh, well, everyone's focused on Nathan. Is that good or bad?
I mean, you're definitely going to get a bump. You're definitely going to get that hype. It's funny. I was sitting, I had to go get to the dentist today. I had to get a tooth repaired that fell apart on me. Anyway, I was sitting in the dentist chair and I was talking to the dentist, who is he's been to Vancouver a few times, but he's an Edmonton Oiler fan. And we were talking about the podcast, and I was telling him how we concentrate on the CFL in the off season, because he was asking, what do you guys talk about? Like when the season's not in? And I'm like, well, we cover the CFL. So of course, right away, he was like, so Nathan coming back, this is big. This is the guy that doesn't even watch football.
Yeah.
And right away, he knew about it.
We have a hockey chat with a bunch of Canucks fans, and it was blowing up with the fact that Nathan was coming back. And all of us are sports fans, like hardcore sports fans, but it's not a Lions chat. It's not. There hasn't been any conversation.
Literally labeled hockey chat.
And we were talking about Nathan coming back.
Well, now, and we're again going back to the dentist chair. I said to the young dentist, he's just a young guy, probably maybe your age, and I said, wouldn't it be something that he comes out on the field in the first possession, snaps 1st and 10, snaps the ball, bomb, TD. Hollins catches it, makes a spectacular. Like, can you imagine the energy in that dome?
Oh.
It would just be.
I mean, yes, be huge, but we got to remember, and Charlie just put it into chat, Bombers defense is crazy good right now for the last 2 games. And they have Lawler back.
Yeah. Everybody's getting healthy this year. Right now, right around this time of the year, everybody seems to be getting healthy, which is great for us fans. Because it's going to be a battle for the next, 8 games left? 9 games? 8 games left. It's going to be a battle. But it's going to be so much fun to watch.
Yes. Before we jump into our sponsor for the day, for the week, 2 things to talk about. The Elks.
Ooh,
and I put in brackets the Elks ownership announcement either tomorrow or Friday will be ending the 75 years of community ownership. It is reported to be Larry Thompson.
That's reported. It's not confirmed.
Not confirmed. It is as per sources. But
who, by the way, if you do any research on Larry Thompson, he's obviously had Thompson Construction up out of Edmonton since I think they started in 1954. And he's been a season ticket holder for decades and decades and decades. So here, this is again similar to the BC Lions with Omar. I always get his name wrong, Jake. BC Lions. Omar Doman. He was a fan first, and then became an owner. This Larry Thompson, huge money behind him, and he's a fan of the league, and he's coming in. The guy out in Montreal, fan of the team, came in as an owner.
It'd be like very similar to if, and the only reason it pops in my brain is because he's at every game, promotes every game, would be Pete the Plumber buying the Stampeders.
Oh, please do it, Pete.
It would be the same. It would be the same type of energy.
Well,
it's a fan who's got money behind him and is going to make decisions you'd hope that are best for business, but also for the fan.
Exactly. It's cool to see. Some people are suggesting that community ownership, or going away from community ownership is ruining the league. Take a look at BC people. Take a look at Montreal people. It's not ruining the league. There's only 2 teams left now that are community owned, and that would be Saskatchewan and Winnipeg.
Yep. And don't get me wrong, I think community ownership is great for the teams that it's working well for. It's not working well for Edmonton. They're like
had a dysfunctional board of directors pulling the team in 7 different directions. And I read a quote. They were pulling the team in 7 different directions and strangling themselves as they were doing it.
3.3 million deficit in 2022 is what this community leadership has put it into. You can't run a business like that.
This was the franchise of the league. This was the marquee franchise of the league. You go back in time. I mean, they were, where do you think the City of Champions came from? It was because they won 5 straight. Before that, they won 3 straight.
And coincided also with the Oilers being the best team in the world at the time, too.
Exactly. Well, they had the best player in the world, but
arguably they do right now, and they're still not winning cups. So.
Exactly. So to see how far this franchise has fallen, I'm excited. I'm sad to see community ownership leave, but I'm excited to see the new entity. And yeah, I see you've got it up there. They might change the name. They won't go to Eskimos.
Yeah, there have been lots of rumors and reporting around this that the new ownership group does want to change the name back to Esks or Eskies.
Yes, and I think the Esks work, right? Keep the EE. You talk to anybody that is considered an Eskimo, they weren't upset about the name.
Nope. I believe they rebranded for good purposes at heart.
Yes,
I believe they also spent about $1 million that they didn't need to spend,
or more. Yeah,
or more. And for a new ownership group to come in and rebrand, like look at when I always go back to teams I know that when Vancouver Canucks got bought out by Orca Entertainment, Sports Entertainment, they changed logos, they updated everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have the Orca logo, is because it was purchased by a group called the Orca Sports Entertainment Group.
Exactly. It's no
longer owned by them, but when they came in, they said, we're making a big change.
Yeah. Used to be the Flying V.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But staying in Edmonton for one quick second, a little bit of hockey news before we get to things. The St. Louis Blues have sent 2 offer sheets to the Edmonton Oilers, one for defenseman Philip Broberg and forward Dylan Holloway. Now, if you don't know what an offer sheet is, basically restricted free agents have the right to negotiate a contract, but they're very restricted in what they can do. Basically, Edmonton Oilers holds the rights to these players, but after a certain point of time in negotiation, any team can negotiate with the team and put together an offer sheet. Now, the team that holds the players' rights is able to sign those players within 7 days to that same deal. If those deals are signed, the Oilers will get compensation.
It's 2 draft picks, is it not?
Yeah, the Blues, their second round pick in 2025 and a 5th round selection in 2026. If both of those go through.
It's funny because when I heard it, I kind of laughed and went, well, that's really put.
Oh, we might have lost you. We might have lost your microphone. You're having some technical difficulties there, old man. But I believe the line that the old man was going to go down was that puts Edmonton Oilers in a pickle salary cap wise, and oh boy, does it. Because I don't believe that the Oilers can match both of these contracts and stay within cap compliance unless Evander Kane goes on LTIR. And now there's talks of that in out of Edmonton that Evander Kane might go onto LTIR, and in doing so, freeing up space. However, if Evander Kane is healthy and is to come back, that's still going to leave Edmonton in a world of pain with all sorts of different issues with their salary cap.
Sorry, I'm just trying to fix the microphone here. There we go.
There we go.
So yeah, basically what I was saying, it's really put Edmonton, like you said, in a pickle with their salary cap, but more so put them on a time clock. And it's forcing Edmonton now to show their hand and show the league that this is the direction we're going, where they wanted to wait. They didn't want to show their hand this early, and they're being forced to. And it's kind of one of those, oh, that's nasty, but I like it.
I love it. And I think I was actually talking about this with a friend of mine earlier today. Why isn't this done more often? Why didn't Calgary do this?
Well, yeah.
Why isn't Calgary gone after the Canucks? Like, we don't have any RFAs right now, but why aren't there more offer sheets in this league? This league doesn't need to be the old boys group, the handshakes and the back winks and the backroom deals.
Well,
make it competitive.
Does this break the ice for that now?
You would think so, but there was an offer sheet a couple of years ago and really just sparked a rivalry between the Montreal Canadiens and the Carolina Hurricanes. They've had a not so friendly rivalry and have offer sheeted people back and forth.
Yes.
But that's it. That really hasn't spread to the league. And I hope maybe you're right. Maybe this does, but I'm crossing my fingers. It changes something.
It's cool. It's going to be fun to watch it play out, especially as a Vancouver Canuck fan, because let's face it, the Canucks have done their work. There's not much left for the Canucks to do in the offseason here except get ready for the season, truthfully, or else we'd be talking about it.
Yep. I mean, there's always changes to be made, but until those happens, we will talk about it. It is now time to hear from our sponsor of the show.
Who's that?
Hi guys, Mitch here with Rangeland RV. You might remember me from such videos as Big Mitch P, the Rockwood 1970 ESP, and even Hot Deals. But I'm here today to talk about something else. Are you having trouble seeing yourself in a new trailer this year because of the high interest rates? Well, we've got a solution for you. We are back with our 2.99% financing on all of our 2023 travel trailers and fifth wheels. On now all the way till...
For a limited time only. Limited time only?!
For a limited time only. So get on down here, take advantage of the massive savings, and get yourself inside your guys' dream RV this season. Happy camping.
Yes, thank you so much to Rangeland RV for sponsoring the show. I do love... My brain went completely blank. I was going somewhere with that. It was going somewhere with that, and literally
I was watching you, and I saw it. It just went bloop. It was that blank look on your face that I've seen so many times, folks.
I have no idea.
It's not new.
I have no idea where it's going with We Love, or
really
I love
the 2.99% financing that Rangeland is having, along with, as most of you know, or some of you know, we had a massive hailstorm last week. Yeah, last week. Didn't hit us at our house, thank goodness, but it did.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, it did hit Jake at his house, and his vehicle, his girlfriend's vehicle, and his roommate's vehicle, I think. Have you guys heard if they're written off yet, or?
Nope, I'm still in a wait list to even get an appointment to get estimated.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. Anyways, the dealership did get hit. So if you're looking for an RV and you don't mind a few little dents, give me a shout, people. 403-969-2184. You can text me, you can call me, and
if you want to troll him, if you want to troll him and talk about like any other sports, you can shoot him a text there as well.
Oh, thanks.
Didn't think that one through, did you?
No.
But let's jump into let's jump into the week that was in the CFL. We have our Thursday night game, the game that never really ended, or did it end? The Saskatchewan Roughriders tied the Ottawa Red Blacks at a score of 22 each. And now you texted me because I wasn't watching this game. I was not in the mood to be watching football last week. But you texted me, and as soon as I could, I got online and I started watching things as best I could.
It was just a bad look for the league. And I mean, you can go, there was 2 or 3 calls during the game, maybe more, that were questionable. Even some that went up to the command center that were questionable. And I'm not talking about those because that's going to happen. When you have humans looking at a screen, you're going to have questionable calls. That's part of the sport. Well, my thing with when the game ended, and literally, folks, the game ended, the referee did this.
Let's for people who didn't watch the game.
Oh, okay.
The game went into overtime.
Yes.
Both Saskatchewan and Ottawa scored in overtime.
Yes.
They both missed their 2-point conversions.
Correct.
Saskatchewan got the ball in the second of the mini games,
Correct.
went down, scored a field goal.
Correct.
Ottawa was driving, and it was on second down. That's I don't remember who it was. Crum. I don't know who was playing quarterback for Ottawa at this point. Got taken down, and the ball was clearly fumbled and recovered by Saskatchewan, giving Saskatchewan the ball and ending the game.
Okay, important note there. The ball was fumbled.
Yes. The ball was fumbled. Saskatchewan recovered it. The referee ended the game. Ill-advised. Did it. And everyone's made mistakes, so I can't hold that, but that's a big mistake because that's the signal. Doesn't matter if there's zeros on the clock or anything on the clock, that is the end of the game. However, it went to video review and it was determined that there was pass interference roughing the passer on the play.
And people lost their left nut over this call.
It's the right call.
It is the right call. People, you have to understand, this was put into place to protect quarterbacks because too many players were doing exactly
what did.
Right? In this case, could he have prevented himself from hitting the quarterback?
Yes.
Maybe.
Don't say
that's not the rule, folks. It doesn't matter if he had intention. It doesn't matter if he could have stopped. It doesn't matter. What matters was he contacted the passer below the knees. Simple. That's the rule. The rule doesn't state if he intentionally touches the QB below the knees. It's if he touches so right play, right call, horrible optics.
Because the play ended up getting reviewed. They called the penalty. They then had to go out and get fans, media off the field. They had to go into the dressing rooms, get players out of the locker rooms.
Coaches were on coaches that were in the box had taken the elevator to the dressing room. Like they were done. Brown, I was who the quarterback was. Brown was in the dressing room. They had to go and get him. I don't know if he had his jersey off or not, but they had to physically go and get him and bring him back on the field. There was babies in carriages on the field.
And now there apparently is an investigation being put forward, not in the way it was handled, but apparently there was fans that were yelling at Bob Dice, head coach.
No, what had happened was, and I read up on this, was that that person in the camouflage, if you watch the video at the very end, there's a guy, I think he had a beard and a camouflage shirt on or a coat on. And I guess he was yelling obscenities at the players and the coach. Sorry, and the coaches. Head coach stepped in and said, "No, you ain't doing that." And there was a confrontation. That guy had media accreditation. He was allowed to be where he was.
And he was calling players
names. So there's now from the CFL, there's a directive to look at media accreditation and who gets it. We'll take it.
Could be good, could be bad. Yeah,
we'll take it.
I'll take it for any game here in Calgary. I'll take it for any game up in Edmonton.
Yes,
because I'm gonna treat every single one of them with the respect that they deserve, and that's yes or no.
That guy should never be allowed in a stadium anywhere in the league again, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, 100%.
It was mayhem. The whole end of the game was just complete mayhem.
Bad look for the league. The reason why a lot of Americans might look at the CFL as a bush league, and I don't blame them after something like this.
It's a major embarrassment. It wasn't a rookie. It wasn't a rookie ref that did this. This was a seasoned referee. He should have known when the ball was turned over, the game wasn't over until he hears it in his ear. And if he brought his flag out, they should have been yelling in his ear, "Stop." None of that apparently happened.
Yeah. And again, this would be so easy to address, and we've talked about it before. If they made one, just like we've talked about in the NHL, make one official, the head official, the replay official, available for one, even just one member of the media after every single game, or at the end of the week, because there's not going to be that many questions at the end of a week. There's going to be one or two questions
on a Monday or a Tuesday, even on Wednesday. Have the head official, the head of officiating, hold a press conference. Like you say, have a one pool guy, just a conversation one-on-one.
You rotate it, so there's 9 teams. There's 18 weeks. Each team gets 2 weeks.
Be done just like this over video. It's not hard, folks.
And you don't need to publish the unedited video. You have editorial rights on that.
And can we stop with the whole entire look at the command center? Why can't we hear them? Let's hear them speak. Why not? What possible damage could happen? I tried, folks. I tried to say it with a straight face.
As someone who has had a radio on during not CFL level, but higher level football games, there's a lot that could accidentally get out.
Yes, it can. But they do it. They did it in the
defunct XFL. Yeah, defunct league.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. I think it'd be cool if TSN or who owns TSN, Bell, did a documentary series similar to what everyone's doing and put it up on their own platform, Crave. Wouldn't it be cool just to see, hear every game just mic'd up? You know how they do mic'd up, the CFL mic'd up, do mic'd up in the video review booth.
And monetize it if you want to. Put it behind TSN Plus.
Yes.
Yeah,
your mom said she stopped watching the game before it ended. You're not alone, Nancy. A whole bunch of people, because I went to pick them, and even Pick'em had it as a tie. CFL had it as a tie.
They had it as a Saskatchewan win.
Oh, sorry, yeah, as a Saskatchewan win. Sorry, yeah, as a Saskatchewan win. And I was like, needless to say, it didn't end. Ottawa came back, kicked a field goal to tie the game.
Again, I believe it was the right call.
It was the right call.
But literally all they had to do was for the ref to put up his hand instead of waving the flag and say, the play is under official review due to a turnover.
Yeah.
And then sit there and wait. Because then everyone would have been like, oh my goodness. And you imagine the buildup of excitement that would have been for Ottawa fans and the disappointment for Rider fans, or vice versa if it was called the other way. The victory, the winning on that. I always think back to the Olympics in Salt Lake City 2002. Because it's burned into my brain because the woman scored in overtime.
Yes.
And it was reviewed, and the review went on forever. And we were like, okay, are they going to have to throw the gear on? Because they celebrated. They threw off their gear. They were literally in a pile on the ice.
Didn't the play continue for a while and then the horn sounded?
No, that you're thinking of of the men's goal.
No, it was a female. It was the ladies hockey.
It wasn't that Olympics. It was later.
I do remember that long delay and the wait.
Because I just remember because they were literally gloves off, celebrating, and then it was like it's under review, and they were literally still in the pile, too anxious, I think, to even move. And then they announced it, and the celebration that happened afterwards.
The one I'm thinking about, the girl, I think she might have broken her leg in the celebration. The goal was scored. Wickenheiser scored the goal.
Haley Wickenheiser, yep.
Yes. And the play continued, and she's like, what? And 40 seconds later, the horn went.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. Okay.
I believe that was the women's. I honestly don't believe that was even the World or the Olympics. I believe that was the Women's World Cup.
I think you're right. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
But we've gone down a complete side tangent. Getting back Let's jump to the Stamps taking on the Argos, losing by a score of 25-39, and the road Stampeders showed up. It's been a
Yeah.
tale of two teams. If you look at the home record, they're fantastic. Then they go on the road.
It's astounding that, I mean, again, it goes back, and we've said it on this show over and over and over again. The inconsistency of the Stampeders this year is baffling to me. Which team is going to show up, the home team or the away team? And I mean, this game could have been way, way worse, like way worse.
Yes. I honestly thought the Argos just outplayed the Stampeders.
I think Deanna and your mom realize they have emojis on their chat, and if they've gone cuckoo.
Oh, boy. Anything else to talk about in the Stamps Argos game? Because I really don't think there was much else to talk about.
No, not really.
Then we had the Ticats going into Montreal, and Montreal showing why they are the creme de la creme of the CFL.
Oh, well done. Creme de la creme. Oh, look at him. And his. Did you have to use Google Translate?
No, I just need to figure out how to do the E with the party hat.
With the party hat. We apologize to all the French people watching our show. The party hat. No, L's are just that far above.
That much better than every other team.
When they get Fajardo back, he wasn't back. No, when they get Fajardo back, it's going to be insane how good they are. Was he back? Why am I thinking he was back?
I'm looking it up right now.
I want to say he wasn't, Jake. I don't know why. I can't. But Jake,
No, it was Davis Alexander.
Yeah, I thought so. It was still Alexander. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who again is going to be a star in this league, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Fun
if
game.
He keeps playing the way he is.
Fun game to watch, though. Even though it was a 10-point difference, which in this season, 10 points sounds like such a huge margin of victory. When really it's not. I mean, if anybody's watched the CFL, you score 10 points in a minute.
Yep. It was super fun game from the looks of it. I unfortunately didn't get a chance to watch this one live, but like Giulio Caravatta was saying, any team can beat any team this year. Like Montreal, there's like they've only lost one, but every game they go out there, there's a good chance that they have.
They've won a bunch by a small margin for sure. There hasn't been those blowouts.
Well, last week the Lions against.
Shush.
Then we had this week's Lions 16, Edmonton Elks 33, and we talked about it a lot with Mr. Caravatta, but I don't think it was the offense's fault. And yeah, we're talking about the offensive player with Nathan Rourke coming back, and we didn't even get to the fact that Jake Dolegala and the other quarterback, I can't remember his name, were released today. Were cut from the league, which sucks. And I hope they find a team.
Who's going to back up Rourke then? I never even asked. Because with who?
Bryce. He came into the game.
Oh, yes.
The last bit of the game there. Let me pull it up. Chase Bryce.
Yes.
Before we get into the disappointing part, anything about that, what did you think of Jake Dolegala?
Great quarterback.
If he has time.
Being handed poop.
Yeah. If he had time, if we had an O-line that gave him time, because he's not a mobile quarterback. He's not a VA.
No.
And that was the big thing, was that first series, and I messaged you after that first series when we went down and scored right away, was that he looked good. He had time. Yeah. He looked good. When he didn't have time, he did not look good.
And he didn't have time. I mean, our O-line deserves to be running laps until they puke. But you can't just blame it on the O-line. No. Edmonton ran the ball down our throat. Like Giulio was saying, we couldn't tackle. I could have done what they did.
Literally, like
They grabbed, and I think Giulio was right where he was saying they were trying to. He figures they were trying to create a big play on defense to help out their offense because they weren't tackling.
there was one play, and I can't remember what part of the game it was, but the Elks running back, I believe it was Leak, came out to the outside, and 3 separate Lions came in up top and tried to punch the ball out.
Yeah,
And I'm sitting there being like, what the fuck are you doing?
it's
Pardon my French. Tackle him. Take him out at the knees. Second guy in goes after ball. I don't care if you're up. I don't care if you're up by 100 or you're down by 100. First guy takes the tackle. If you are struggling and you need a second guy in, that second guy comes in with the punch for the ball.
Thank you. It
was driving me nuts. Simple techniques. You come in and you wrap up and you drop. You don't do anything fancy.
If they want to look at one play that I think cost them the game, if you can say one play cost them a game, I've been watching football long enough to know that's not true. But one play that stood out to me that was just insanity was 3rd and 5.
And you throw a 30-yard bomb.
But
Sure.
you're in the first half of the ball game. It's 3rd and 5. It was the second quarter, was it not? Yeah, it was. I believe
you were. If you were anything, you were within a field goal of tying or within a touchdown.
You were within 3 points. If not, it would have been a 1-point game, I believe.
Yeah.
Not only do you go for it, like Jake just said, you throw a 40 freaking yard bomb with a quarterback that isn't known to throw bombs.
Not just that, I don't think I take nothing away from Dolegala. I think he can be a great quarterback in this league, and I said it before this game. This game doesn't change my perspective of him. He hasn't had the experience to be able to throw that ball. He made a few throws that were fantastic.
Oh yeah,
that our receivers just dropped.
Oh,
that right. And Charlie puts it here: BC has more problems than quarterback. 100%.
Oh,
most of our problems are not quarterback. It's our defense not tackling.
Our quarterback was having an MOP season. Giulio said it earlier. He was literally on an MOP season. That's why this whole week has been such a what the just happened. Yeah, Vernon's hurt, and we can't use we needed a quarterback, but it was so that's not our problem. Quarterbacking hasn't been our problem. Our problem has been line, defensive back, receiving core. There's been so many drop passes, and I texted you during that game, and I asked you that question. Things seem to change for our offensive production once Hatcher got healthy and they reinserted him.
Yep.
Do you think that threw off the chemistry?
I find it so hard to even comment on that because I've never, and it's not like, oh, who knows? I've never been around a team in a professional capacity where the chemistry changes based off of one player.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be wild to think of, but also it lined up perfectly with when VA started dealing with some health problems. Yeah. Started in that Calgary game where he got hurt, and we saw it right away where he was on the sidelines grabbing his ribs.
Right. It's I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, and I'm glad that because Giulio is such a incredibly knowledgeable football guy, and when he said the excitement around practice today and the fact that there was only 2 passes dropped all game,
all practice, yep,
that's huge.
Yep,
that's huge.
Plus, also the stern advice,
the stern-spirited advice.
Look, sometimes players need it. Sometimes players need a wake-up call.
Exactly.
And with extra eyes on it, And again, it's either going to do one of two things in my eyes. It's either going to let the defense breathe, be like, hey, look, we're not the center of focus. Because I think if everything's status quo, I think that is the biggest question is, can this defense slow down Winnipeg? Because
Right?
they haven't looked like they've been able to. Now it's, oh my God, Nathan Rourke is back. Does that
Yes.
allow your defense to just breathe and say, okay, we just need to get back to basics, and we have Nathan Rourke back now. We don't need to make those big plays. We have someone we're confident in making those plays now.
Exactly. And I mean, Nathan is such a dynamic player that he can burn you with his arm, but he can also burn you with his legs.
Yep. But
You don't know. And if we get Steinbeck going early, watch out. This could turn out. I'm sorry, Charlie, plug your ears before I say it. This could be a blowout. Only say that because Charlie said the Bombers were going to win by 10 earlier. So this could be a blowout. I said it last week that it could be a blowout. I was wrong.
Your blowout predictions haven't been great. So.
No, not at all.
But you know what has been great?
Do you know what
And it's
has
everyone's
been great?
And everyone's favorite segment.
It's time for the old man predictions. How well did he do? Do-do-da. Do-dee-do.
That is right, everyone. It is now time for Old Man Predicts. How well did he do? Do-dee-da. Do-dee-do. And actually, we are checking out to see how well Charlie did this week. And Charlie...
You didn't do well, Charlie.
Well, the first game was technically a tie.
So and according to CFL picks, that means you both win.
Nope.
Yep.
No, it's a tie. The Argos got the win. The Ticats did not. And the Lions did not. Meaning, I put this in wrong here. Sorry, I need to fix this.
What are you doing?
I need to update this because I put it in backwards.
Ow.
Is that the Old Man Predicts is now at 25 wins, 14 losses, and 1 draw, bringing his total week record to 2-8. Charlie,
Charlie. Here we go. Let's do this. I don't even need to say it.
For those who are not watching it, Charlie just commented and said, "I sucked."
You sucked worse than ever. That was the worst pick'em I've ever seen in the history of pick'ems.
That's not true at all.
Yeah,
that's not true at all.
It is.
No, he could have easily gone 1-3.
You're fired. Charlie just got fired. Now, let's pick them like we're supposed to. We got the Red Blacks at the Stamps.
We have the Red Blacks. I'm sorry, I just confused myself. It's fine. Don't worry about me.
It's okay.
We have the Ottawa Red Blacks coming into Calgary. Who do you have taken that one, old man?
I'm going to take the Stamps.
You're taking the Stamps.
I'm taking the Stamps.
I mean, they are the home team, and a home team Stamps is a different team. So
undefeated so far at home, aren't they?
I think so. I think they're 4-0 at home.
Yeah.
I believe they're 4-0 at home. Yeah.
So
then we go into Friday night, where the Montreal Alouettes are taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders in Saskatchewan. Who do you have being picked there?
Well, this one.
That one is the official Hughes Sports Podcast coin toss.
It is. It's good. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Do I take the home team or do I take the away team? I'm going to flip a coin. I don't have one. And I'm going to take the Riders. Take a home team again.
Taking the home team Riders.
I know. It's probably the upset.
Just so everyone knows, I always play this game with myself where I guess what the old man's going to pick. I am 0 for 2 right now. Then we go into Saturday having the Edmonton Elks, the 2 wins in a row Edmonton Elks, taking on the 2-7 Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Going to be 3 in a row for the Elks. Now, I wish I could find out if Trey Ford was healthy, because I might change that pick.
I did do some research, and I didn't get a chance to cut in because I didn't want to cut off our guest.
Yes.
Trey Ford is listed as day-to-day. He feels good and wants to play, but as per G. Simon, interim GM, former BC Lions legend, G. Simon, he has been listed as day-to-day.
I'm still going to stay with the Elks. Let's hope
as they play Saturday. I believe they need to put in their report tomorrow.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we'll find out if he's practiced and playing or not. Then we have the Sunday nighter, the nightcap, cap off the week with apparently a full 30-minute intro as per our insider.
Wow.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers taking on the BC Lions.
For the first time ever on the Hughes Sports Podcast, we not have one coin toss, we've got two coin tosses. Is that allowed?
It's your show too. You can do whatever you want. Actually, no, sorry. This is your segment. You can do whatever you want. The rest of the show, it's my show.
It's my show. You guys all heard him. I have it on tape now. It's my show.
On tape? You're recording this on tape? What year is this?
I'm going to take my Lions, obviously. Now, if anybody plays CFL Pick'em, on the Sunday game, you always have to predict the margin of victory. So I'm going to click it twice, and the margin of victory is going to be 2.
2 points.
It's going to be that close, dude. It's going to be a walk-off
safety, a missed
walk-off field goal to.
How does that make sense? How?
Just add the points up. It's going to be 2 points.
Okay, that means either there's going to be an extra point missed to be able to make it a 2-point conversion, 2-point differential.
Because you can
or a rouge or 2 rouges.
Right? There's all kinds of ways to get 2 points.
There's 3 ways to get 2 points.
There's three. I mean, but the difference, 2-point difference, there's all kinds of ways. You could go 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns, right? Now you're at 14-6. You score a touchdown. Now you're at 14-13. You kick a rouge. All of a sudden, you're at 2-point difference. Oh, I didn't think of that, he said.
No, your math is terrible.
No, you're at 6, 14-6. The team that has 6 scores a touchdown. Now you're at 14-13. The team that has 6 and is down, they're not gonna take a single point after touchdown. They're gonna go for 2. No, they're gonna go for 1.
That's how you get the 2.
It's early in the game. They're gonna go for 1, and then the preceding kick goes through the end zone, and now it's actually 15-13. 2 points. The old man wins again. Carry on.
Well, you heard it here. The old man predicts that it's going to be a 15-13 score, and that's exactly how it's going to happen. So if that's not how it happens, don't blame me. Don't blame the football gods. Don't blame anything else. Blame that man right there. Just a reminder, this is not betting advice in any way, shape, or form. For legal purposes, I'm sure we probably have to say that.
Don't use my picks.
But you can follow us. We appreciate you beautiful human beings for taking the time listening to us. If you are listening live right now, please drop a like, hit the repost button if you're on X. Follow us on X, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all at HSP_pod. Share it with your friends. If you're listening on any of the podcast apps, please do rate us a 5-star. I want to say thank you so much to Giulio Caravatta again for coming on the show. Like you mentioned, old man, this was you messaged him 7 hours ago, 8 hours ago?
Literally, I can go back. We're friends on Facebook. I don't know how we became friends on Facebook, but we did. And I messaged him at 1:01 p.m. our time.
So 8 hours ago. 8 hours ago.
7 hours before he was to come on. And his reply, sure, no problem.
Just a guy clearly who loves to talk about sports with the fans, with the people. If you're not following him on social media, please do go give him a follow at Caravatta2 on the X or Twitter or whatever it is you want to call it.
If you can't watch TV and you want to listen to two of the best broadcasters to ever do it, besides Rod, Chooch, go listen to CKNW. Hear these guys. They're amazing together.
Now, even I might be weird in this, but I remember a time where you had where listening to like biased commentators actually made the games a little bit better.
Yes.
If you want and you have the ability to, you can load up the game and load up your radio or your phone listening to it, because let's face it, how else do you listen to things nowadays?
Yes.
You can find a way to sync it. It's going to take a few seconds to get it synced up, but you can sync it up and listen to Giulio Caravatta on the call while watching it. It's very hard to do. It is possible.
Okay.
It takes a lot of synchronicity happening, but it is possible. I've done it once for a quarter, and then I accidentally clicked the back button on my phone, and then I was like, yeah, it's never happening again. I'm never getting that synced up again.
I mean, I used to always listen to the radio, because back then, if it was a home game, you didn't get it on TV. So it was the radio or you didn't listen.
Yeah. I mean, that was 40 plus years ago.
Shut up.
Caravatta, just to be clear, Caravatta wasn't doing the play-by-play when the old man was young, just for clarity's sake. But have yourselves a wonderful week. We will see you back here this time, maybe. Have yourself a good week. Mwah.